What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I have another really cool guest today. Different, different guest than you normally see. Different kind of athlete, but also more famous for something that you don't really hear about. Talk a little bit about it and introduce yourself for us.
I'm McCovey Cove Dave, and I'm famous for being at the San Francisco Giants games. My hobby is trying to catch home runs. A lot of people go to batting practice and grab balls, and that's really good. And that's a good way of getting a lot of souvenirs. But I want to get a real game ball. And so growing up, my favorite play was the home run. And I'm a national champion at a sport or was a national champion at a sport that requires you to be a good swimmer and to be a fast kayaker. And in fact, those are really good skills for McCovey Cove. What happens at the Giants ballpark, now called Oracle Park, is that the right side of the field faces San Francisco Bay. And if they really hit a good shot, 400-foot plus, it can land in San Francisco Bay. So basically what I do is I listen to the radio real time. I'm hearing the broadcasters say, oh my gosh, a left-handed hitter's up. And I know he's a power hitter. And I basically use math to try to place my kayak where the home run's going to land. So I'm competing with other guys. It used to be that none of these guys had this information, but over 10 years ago, I started figuring out where should the ball land if he hits it in the typical spot. And you can do that by plotting the home run landing spots on what they call a scattergram. And that's what I do for every player. And so I go to that location, and hopefully not too many competitors are there, but there's always somebody. And I try to catch the home run, and it's a real charge when the ball comes out, because now you are on TV and you're part of that home run and part of that game.
Yeah, and so I didn't even think of that, the math that goes into it. I kind of just thought of having fun with it on the kayak and waiting for a home run. Talk about that. How much time do you put into your scatter plots and for each player before all these games that you go to? Because you go to almost every, is it almost every home game? It is.
Oh, no. So I use math to determine also which games are going to have home runs. So I go to half of the games each year, which is about 40 games. And so far, since I've been doing this since 2005, I have 40% of all Giant splash hits, whether I'm there or not. So I basically go to the games where the home runs are being hit, and I typically get about 65% of all Giants home runs, actually all home runs. I actually probably get 70% of Giants home runs because I paddle harder. But there's always competitors, and they can spread out and try to make a net. But generally, I beat them about 65 to 70% of the time. It's all about preparation. If I could say one thing to your audience, whatever you guys decide to do in life, be prepared, because preparation can actually beat your competitors, even if the competitor is got higher natural skills than you, if you prepare. So what I do in McCovey Cove is I am the fastest paddler, although the gap is closing now because I am old. I'm 66, but I can still beat the guys 40 years younger than me, but it's because I was really fast when I was young. I also go to the spot where the ball most likely is going to land. That's all preparation. I know a bunch of little fine-tuned skills that not everybody knows. For instance, a player that's left-handed hits the ball further off a right-handed pitcher. So when right-handed pitchers are against the Giants, those are the games I go to. Also, air temperature. The warmer the air, the farther the ball travels. So if it's a really cold night, you're probably not going to get a ball. So I stay home. But I use all those skills. And then part of it is when a ball's hit, it takes about 5 seconds for the ball from when it hits the bat to hit the water. We can only see it in McCovey Cove the last 2.5 seconds. So what happens as soon as I know the ball's hit, I'm already looking along the edge of the stadium, and there's always at least one person and that is going to break towards the ball. If I'm 100 feet off the foul line and I see the guy running to the foul pole, I paddle before I can see the ball as fast as I can towards the foul pole. And sometimes I see the ball in the air, and now I'm going like 7 miles an hour. And the other guys that are just stationary, well, they have a disadvantage because I have speed and I might ram them a little, but give them a little fun. But it's a fun little hobby. And what happens is you get to be known by the broadcast team. So like today, even though I wasn't playing in Pittsburgh on the Allegheny River, the Giants broadcasters were talking about me on the broadcast. And they also did it 2 days ago, their last game, when a couple of foul balls come out. So you get to know the broadcast team because you've been there a lot, you've been successful, and it makes it fun for me because I get some VIP treatment at the park. You know, I get to do special things. I get to typically have lunch with one of the Giants players each year. So you get to become friends with Hunter Pence, Brandon Belt, and that makes it special.
Definitely. And kind of segueing into what I wanted to talk about, relationships that you built with the players, whether it's from just catching their home runs and then posting that video on Instagram and it goes viral or whatever it may be, because
Yeah.
clearly, you're building quite a following. And even more importantly, you're just getting to know these players who, typically wouldn't pay mind to many fans who catch a home run ball, because so many of them do it.
Yes. It's been fun. What happens is in the beginning of the season, I tend to meet the players at different charity functions for the Giants. And they know I got their home run, that I probably want them to sign the ball. Most of the time, the balls are in the room. I've got about 60 home runs here in the room that I've either caught in my kayak or caught with my mitt. Sometimes, like the Milestone home run for Charlie Blackmon, I did give that back to him. Most of the time, the players are happy for me to keep the souvenir. But bottom line, they know me. I'm branded. Basically, my name is on my shirt. So they go, "Oh my God, McCovey Cove, Dave's got it." And I end up meeting with them. We do pictures. And so I've got a lot of pictures in my room of me with the players and joking around. Like I have 8 splash hits up here from Pablo Sandoval, who played with the Giants a long time. I got his first splash hit. I got his last splash hit. Brandon Belt, I have 6 home runs. Twice I have been involved in the play of the day on ESPN. In 2020, there was a walk-off home run, and Yastrzemski hit a home run. I jumped in the water for it. #1 play of the day, my second one. And I didn't really have to go in on this one. It was kind of the excitement of it all. I jumped in. My son said, "Dad, you know what? Once a year, just jump in, even if you don't have to, have some fun." So I do jump in. On the Blackmon home run. I had to jump in because, well, I didn't have to, but I did decide to jump in. Inevitably, I got the ball last week. But getting back to your point, I get to know the Giants players. I get to know sports media, the broadcasters. The broadcasters are really an important part of the game for me because I'm listening to them. So meeting them and spending time with them is really satisfying for me because they tend to last like 20 years or 30 years, whereas a player, might be a few years, or if they're a great player, 10 years. And anyhow, so I run into these players. We get the ball signed. I've got photo memories in here, and it keeps on getting better. One of the key things was 10 years ago for Father's Day, my son got me a Dave shirt, and that shirt now made it clear who got that ball. Before, we all kind of looked the same. But and then, as you know, I've been on social media. I've been on Instagram and Twitter, mainly Instagram. And this year's home runs have really helped me get followers because I've made 3 home run grabs this year, and all of them have been special home runs. The first one was the Mother's Day home run, which is this one right here. It was hit to me by Mike Yastrzemski, and it landed right in front of me. I was at a good location, but my mom had passed away the year before, and I did like a 20-second dedication of this ball to my mom, and it went viral. ESPN, who watches me, saw that and said, "Oh my God, we're going to post that." The Giants saw it, Major League Baseball saw it, and all of a sudden, about 10 million people had watched that one video. And then a couple weeks later, you might remember Jock Peterson hit 3 home runs in a game.
Yeah.
And he's been with the Giants for years. He's been with the Dodgers and Chicago, but it was one of the best games, I think, in Major League Baseball this year. The Giants ultimately won at 13-12, but this was a 3-run home run in the 8th inning that tied the game 11-11. And because of COVID, I haven't met the players like Jock Peterson yet, but next year, assuming he's on the team, I'll meet with Jock and it'll be fun. We'll do some photos. We'll have some fun laughs over it. And he's a player that I look forward to catching more home runs. He got a home run today in Pittsburgh. And then I got the Charlie Blackmon home run, which there was a little luck involved. I did know that he was at 199, so I was there to try to get 200. And when I had to, I jumped in. In life, when you got to go for it. You got to go for it.
Definitely. And is that the biggest milestone from a player that you've caught?
No. So I've caught different milestones. Carlos Beltran, this is his 300th. I caught his 300th. I caught his 298th. I've caught many 300 home runs. I caught the 1000th Giants home run at our park. And so I started counting the home runs off the previous year, and the Giants ended up with 950 home runs. And I wrote the Giants and said, I think the Giants have hit 950 home runs through 2013. And my guy at the Giants said, yeah, Dave, that's right. And so that year, as they went on, I started counting them, 951, 952. Finally, it got to 999, like 999 bottles of beer. And I was ready, and Belt was up. The other guys in the Cove didn't realize the next one was 1,000, but I did, and it came right to me, and in Belt's favorite location. So, and then I've got other, home runs. Like I got the first home run hit by an American League player, Big Papi, who went into the Hall of Fame last year. And I've had the opportunity to meet with him 3 times. And the one thing about catching their home run is now you're part of their career in a way. So I was the American Sports Fan of the Year in 2016. And we basically went to the where the New York Nets play in Brooklyn, and we Sports Illustrated took the whole arena and catered it to about 300 celebrity sports stars. I was having champagne, and I found out we were drinking $600 champagne, and Michael Phelps, the athletes, all the top stars in from Olympics to baseball. So this is Big Papi here. He was like a table away from me. So he said, Dave, let's just take your phone and do some selfies. So there I am with smiling Big Papi.
You don't get that often.
I grabbed the 333rd career home run. And because now he's in Hall of Fame, I kind of feel like, yeah, I'm a little me is in there too, Yeah. And that night when I drank the $600 champagne, actually, I kept the bottle here because while I like champagne, it's the first time I had a bottle that was $600. I tried to buy the same one when I got home, and I found out if you buy one bottle, it's $850. $600 was the discount for Sports Illustrated because they bought like 500 bottles that night. But so the one thing that you get when you catch home runs is you get known. And like I got invited to that event and everything because of catching home runs. You get a lot of cool invites, that you couldn't put a price on.
Definitely. That's like sports stories that you could tell for ages, and not
Yeah.
many people get the chance to tell that story. Definitely something that I want to talk about, like to continue talking about. So you talked about player like having lunch with these players, and do you talk to them about like what it was like when you caught these home runs, and what are the reactions? Because I feel like for them, it's like in the moment, how do they, I don't even know how they remember that home run, but I definitely understand that they definitely do. And it's definitely a connection that they will never forget.
No. So what happens is I meet with them generally within a year of them hitting it, but sometimes things happen and I might not run into a player for 5 or 10 years and they may retire. And the longer they get away from the game, the more they're grateful that I've now brought this home run to them. And then they start remembering. So there was a guy named Ryan Klesko who played with Atlanta, the Padres, and he played for the Giants for 1 year. He had a 15-year career. He was on the World Series team of 1995 for Atlanta. But in the 1 year for the Giants, he had 2 splash hits in the water, and I got his first one, and it was towards the end of his career. So about 5 years ago, when San Diego was hosting the All-Star game, I went down there because I saw that he was going to do signatures. So me and my buddy, we had his only 2 splash hits, 43 and 44. And there was like 1,000 people there getting signatures, but no one really kind of knew him like we knew him. We had the balls he hit in the Cove. So when we came to him in line, oh my God, he said, I want to take pictures with my camera, because he was enjoying the fact that we had the real home runs and we told him our stories. And it was like we were a family, and it was a fantastic thing. And he did sign both of our balls, and we've got a cool, I'm going to grab a photo again. I got photos all over the place here.
That
So,
sounds like an awesome room to have, though.
yeah, there's so right here, that's a photo of Ryan Klesko and me and my buddy, and we each have our home run balls, and we got about 10 minutes of time, whereas he was doing signatures about every 5 seconds for the masses. But there's Ryan, there's me, and there's my buddy Mark, and there are the 2 special balls. So
That's awesome.
these are the kind of opportunities you get. And I savor each one. I savor each one. And more of these events will happen. You get to know the players, like Hunter Pence. I got to know him through having lunch. And so then he followed me on Instagram, and I could write him direct messages and get him to see them, easier than someone who's not a direct friend. And that's made it special for me. It made it really special. So I always tell the story of what happened in the Cove. Like, I had to swim for it. I got hit in the mouth by a paddle, and we always have a lot of laughs, me and the players. It's always fun.
That sounds awesome. And now I have one question for you. I don't know if you might know the exact number. I think you definitely should know the exact number. How many home runs have you caught or gotten from?
Oh yeah, I do know that. I am a numbers guy, so I don't forget this kind of stuff. But right now I have 46 McCovey Cove home runs. There've been roughly 200 home runs over 23 seasons. I've been to about a third of the total games. I started becoming a regular in 2005. So the PED era was kind of from 2000 to 2004 had already happened. So I got there in the kind of the quiet time. But now I'm approaching 50, which is hard to believe because they just don't happen every day. I also have 61 foul balls. So I have 107 balls that have come into McCovey Cove out of 400 that have been hit over 23 seasons. So I have 25%. And it's been special. So there are guys like Zach Hampel that catch balls with mitt, and I do that too. So whereas Zach is basically a strictly land home run getter, and he's fantastic at it, I basically have caught home runs on land and on water. I made the 2017 Catch of the Year, where they evaluate him on Twitter at the Oakland Coliseum. I've caught 11 home runs on dry land. So sometimes when the Giants are away, I head over to the Oakland Coliseum and try to catch one. And I'll be doing that in the next month or so on some Giants away stands. So I kind of feel like I'm the amphibious ball hawk. Zach Campbell is a great land ball hawk, but I can do it on land or on water.
You ever tried to get Zach to switch places with you for a game?
I did. I took him on the water. There's no competition. Now on land, he's a better catch than I'm on water. But the one skill that I have is that I do my homework even more than Zach Campbell. So I'll say that is that at an Oakland Coliseum game, I run between right field and left field all the time. Zach will do that occasionally. I do it all the time. So I'm trying to increase my odds. So when a right-hander's up, I'm generally going to be in left field. Left-hander, I'm going to be in right field. So I run, say, once an inning to try to increase my odds of getting a home run. Zach doesn't do that as much, I don't believe. And but if you really want to be successful, that's what you want to do, is run. And but anyhow, I started this late in life. Zach is basically, started off as a young guy. He is a phenomenal catch. All my home runs except for one have happened in my 50s or 60s, which is kind of way up there in age. So I'm happy to be at 57 major league home runs, and I think there's chances are I might get 75 or more if I stay healthy, and I'm hoping to.
I mean, I have 2 foul balls, so I'm on my path.
Yes. Well, you got to start somewhere, and all the skills that I use in Zach, they all can be done. Basically, shifting to where the player's going to hit it. Don't stay in your seat if you really want to catch multiple home runs. Be where the ball's going to land.
Definitely. I'll use my tips next week. I'm going to Yankees Astros game.
Fantastic.
Looking to catch a Yordan Alvarez short porch in right field.
That would be fantastic. That'd be fun. I do have a Jose Altuve home run that I caught at the Oakland Coliseum. And the home run that I made the catch of the year was for a Yankee that only played a brief time. His name was Chris Carter.
Oh.
He played for the Brewers. He maybe got 40 home runs a couple years with them. And then he came briefly in like 2015, 16, and was a short-term designated hitter for the Yankees. And when he was one, I ran down hard down the bleachers. And just when it ends there at the Oakland Coliseum, I jumped, grabbed the ball, and it looked like I was going to go over, but I didn't. I grabbed the railing, and so I just kind of whipped over, making the grab. But it got me catch of the year, so I was very, very excited about that.
Hey, that's definitely something to be excited about. I don't know how I caught. I have 1 foul ball last year. Actually, it's almost a year ago today. I remember the date. It was June 23rd, and I wasn't even looking. Foul ball. I had my left hand up, and I'm a righty, but bare hand. I had my left hand up, and I turn around, and there was a foul ball like maybe 20 feet away from me, and I just barehanded it. It was a line drive. It was like 100 miles off the bat. I thought I broke my hand.
Yeah,
but it was awesome. I didn't feel a thing.
Fantastic.
Adrenaline. I didn't feel a thing for the next 3 days, and then I thought I broke my hand. It was purple. It was bruised, but it was worth it.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I've always had a mitt when I'm inside the park. I'm one of the guys that doesn't use a kind of a trout fishing net in McCovey Cove. If I had a net, at times I could have netted home run balls that were around me, which would have been cool. I'm always prepared to try to grab one with my bare hand, but they've not come in within the right radius to do it. And so far, all the balls have basically landed in water, although some of them very close to my kayak.
Okay, I think you have 75 in you easily, barehanded or not.
Yeah,
I think you can get 75.
I'm hoping. So I'm going to go to about 20 A's games this year, and I'm going to go to about 30 more Giants games, and then I'll go to some playoff games. and it'll be a lot of fun. If anybody watching this comes out to California, come out in McCovey Cove, rent a kayak on a weekend, and I'll show you the ropes.
Oh, definitely. I'll be reaching out to you within the next maybe year or so. I'll be out there with you. We'll film a video on the cove, catching a home run ball.
Aiden. I love that. That would be awesome.
Definitely. All right, Dave. Any last words you want to say for people watching?
Just if you want to keep track of baseball, from my perspective, follow me at McCovey Cove Dave on Instagram and Twitter. And I'd like to be linked up with you guys.
Definitely. And all I have to say is, Zach Hampel, if you're seeing this, comment your secrets. I'm trying to learn.
All right. Hey, sounds good. Take care, Aiden. Thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dave. And for those of you guys who are watching, just saw 83% of you are not subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I'll be back again soon. Thank you so much, guys.